Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com. And we've got news that spans the globe today, starting off with our friends down in America at King's Promotions, who are putting on a card this Friday night featuring local bantamweight Jonathan Rodriguez, who's going to take on a tough veteran, Oscar Vasquez. It's the main event of a tremendous night of professional boxing taking place at the Wind Creek Event Center, and that's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Now, Rodriguez is fighting out of Bethlehem, and he has a record of 10-1-1 with 3 knockouts. He's a 4-year professional, and we're looking for the biggest win of his career and doing it in front of his hometown fans, as I said. This will be his 5th appearance at the event center, and he's coming off a 6-round unanimous decision over Jose Cañez on March 11th. For his part, Vasquez out of Sun Valley, Nevada is 15-3-1 with 3 knockouts. And the 35-year-old has a win over Jose Toribia, who's 6-1, is now looking to get back in the win column after losing a unanimous decision to the undefeated Jericho Quinn back on January 17th, 2020 in Sloan, Iowa. Anyway, other fighters on the King's Promotions card include undefeated prospects. Let's have a quick look here. Surging lightweight James Bernardin takes on an opponent to be named. He's 7-0-1 in an 8-round bout. Junior middleweight Joseph Jackson, undefeated, taking on Anthony Lank. Let's have a quick look here. In a 6-round bout, Julian Gonzalez, 6-0-1 of Reading, Pennsylvania, takes on Rondale Hubbard out of Duluth, Minnesota. In a 6-round bout, undefeated light heavyweight Joseph George, 11-0. out of Houston, Texas, takes on an opponent to be named later. And in 4-round bouts, we've got Tanjay Teasley, 3-0, out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, who's going to go toe-to-toe with Macon Ola da Silva. He's 1-6 out of Concord, New Hampshire. And that'll be a welterweight bout. And tickets are on sale now. So if you're in the Bethlehem neighborhood this Friday night, you might want to pop by and enjoy the action. Speaking of Pennsylvania, we've got more action this Friday night. A big lightweight bout will headline the RDR Promotions debut at the Clarion Hotel, as Nahir Albright will take on undefeated Estevan Falcoa in a bout scheduled for 8 rounds. Albright is fighting out of Sicklerville, New Jersey, and he has a record of 14-2 with 7 knockouts. Falcoa out of São Paulo, Brazil, is 11-0 with 6 knockouts. So this is going to be a dandy of a matchup here. A packed undercard is being assembled and already will feature some Philly favorites and prospects in 6-round bouts. You've got Cameron Crawl, 19-22-3 with 6 knockouts out of Las Vegas, taking on Timurian Raimkulov, 5-1-2 out of Philadelphia in a junior middleweight bout. In a welterweight rematch, you've got RDR Promotions signee Mark Dawson, 9-1-1, going against Vincent Floyd in a battle of Philadelphians. In 4-round bouts, you've got undefeated Romel Cruz, 7-0-1, taking on Roberto Puchata out of Jalisco, Mexico, in a super bantamweight rematch. Dominic Mayfield out of Philadelphia will take on debuting Jeremiah Wiles, also out of Philadelphia. Aaron Peterson out of Philadelphia fights Igor Pitarov out of Hollandale, Florida, in a middleweight contest. Famous Wilson, 1-0 out of Deer Park, New York, takes on Tyler Jacques out of Bennington, Vermont, in a middleweight contest. Raheem Cook, also out of Philadelphia, fights Joshua Zimmerman out of Baltimore in a lightweight contest. And finally, prized amateur standout Marvelous Corbin of Philadelphia will make his pro debut against K1 Sistrunk out of Detroit, Michigan, in a junior welterweight matchup. So there you go. Pennsylvania fans are going to have their hands full this Friday night deciding where to go. They can go to the Clarion Hotel, which is located in Essington, Pennsylvania, or over to Bethlehem for a fight night there as well. Choice is yours. And if you're a little further south in Tennessee, you might want to drop into Memphis on October 1st for a big fight night. 116 Promotions, in association with Mike Cook Boxing and Lifeline to Success, brings professional boxing back to fans in Memphis, Tennessee. And that'll take place at the Agri Center, as I said, on October 1st. The main event will be middleweight Tennessee native Mike Cook fighting to keep his undefeated record intact against an opponent to be determined. Also in action will be decorated female amateur Stevie Morgan, making her second professional bout. In cruiserweight action, Alan Melson will be taking on DeAndre the Equalizer at Nicholson in 6 rounds of action. Melson, who last fought as a top-ranked fighter, and medalist Richard Torres back in March, looks to get back in the win column. On the undercard, we'll also see Chicago native Harold Jackson versus undefeated Jimmy Ford out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, for the vacant Alabama State Junior Middleweight title and the American Boxing Federation Junior Middleweight title. In an all-action prospect bout, welterweight Jesse Fletcher will take on Azalai Kimball in 4 rounds. Both Fletcher and Kimball had their hands raised in their last bouts by exciting knockouts their last time in the ring on McCain's last Memphis show. Now, the McCain they're talking about is this company, 116 Promotions, based in Alabama, is a sports promotion company created by Brandy McCain, who is the owner and operator and currently the only licensed boxing promoter in Alabama and only one of very few female boxing promoters in the country. So she's got a big night ahead of her, as I said, taking place at the Agri Center in Memphis, Tennessee on October 1st. Let's move over to Rome, Italy, an event promoted by OPI since '82, and Top Rank will take place at the venue Atlantico in Rome, and it will be broadcasted live on ESPN Plus in USA and Mola TV exclusively in Italy. Guido Vianello, number 1 ranked Italian heavyweight, will be the star of the main event. Fighting out of Churchi's Family, Italy's leading boxing promoter. And he's partnered up with Top Rank in partnership. Okay, I don't know. That's a very confusing sentence. Sorry, fans. 7 professional boxing fights, 3 of which will be title fights, will entertain the crowd both ringside and live on the broadcast. The star of the night is heavyweight Guido Vianello, as I just said, 9-0-1, 9 knockouts, with Top Rank, who will fight in the main event against British Jay McFarlane, 12-6 with 6 knockouts. The boxing night in its entirety will be structured around the best talents of the Roman boxing school that OPI, since 1982, has on its roster. Undefeated and talented Mirko Natsisi, 12-0, 7 knockouts, will defend his WBC Silver International Super Welterweight title against Welshman Tony Dixon, who nearly 1 year ago in Rome won his last fight with a stunning first-round knockout against Francesco Russo. The second title fight will be between the European Super Flyweight champ Stephanie Silva and her official challenger, Iwelina Pekalski, both undefeated. The third title bout will be a heated and local Rome-based derby, Francesco Russo taking on Francesco Sarchiota for the vacant Italian Super Welterweight national title. Before the title fights, there will be a single intermission of AOB boxing with 2 famous Italian web content creators facing each other with gloves on. YouTubers Simone Sim1 Workout Karatunatu and Domenico Street Gorilla Vandito will fight in their first official contest. In the undercard, Armando Casamonica, 7-0, and Moro Lol, 7-4, will face off for the second time after their previous clash in November 2021. As opening acts of the evening, 2 prospects will make their professional debut. Mario Manfredi, middleweight, who will begin his career with a 4-round fight, and also Francesco Faroni, brother of Italian cruiserweight champ Mattia Faroni, a middleweight himself, will test his abilities in a 4-round fight. Their opponents have yet to be confirmed. So some good news out of Italy, which we rarely hear about, but good to know there's a top-ranked heavyweight to be brought to our attention. His name, once again, Guido Vianello. All right, let's move along now to Granite Chin Promotions, who have announced its final 2 events of 2022 will both take place in Massachusetts, November 19th in Springfield, and on November 23rd in Bridgewater. With a lot of Granite Chin fighters progressing in their careers, says Granite Chin President Chris Trietti, I feel like it's on me to progress with my events to showcase the fighters and propel them onto much bigger stages. After the August 6th event, I felt like it was time to recharge the battery for a few weeks then gear up to close out the year strong. I'm psyched to be finally out in the Springfield area, putting on a stacked card from top to bottom at a great venue, Mass Mutual Center. A huge thank you to my partner in the show, Gunther Fishgold, for tirelessly helping out behind the scenes to help this happen. A few days later, we're going to go back to Bridgewater to honor the late, great Jimmy Farrell in what will be a great night of Pro-Am boxing. Grant Chin's first show in Springfield Championship Boxing at the Mass Mutual Center, will showcase some of the best fighters from Western Massachusetts, including undefeated prospects such as Pittsfield's Steve Sumter, who's 6-0 with 6 knockouts, and Holyoke's Denzel Dublin Pat Whitley, 9-0 with 6 knockouts, and Carlos Castillo, 5-0 with 3 knockouts. Granite Chin's best overall shows pits a pair of undefeated prospects in an 8-round bout for the vacant Massachusetts Light Heavyweight Championship. Here we go, the heavyweights again. Sumter versus New Bedford's Edith Papito McPnan, 8-0 with 7 knockouts. So there we go, more heavyweights being mentioned, moving up in the rankings. Sumter, by the way, who has knocked out all 6 of his professional opponents to date, has been campaigning as a super middleweight, while McPnan has captured a silver medal at the 2018 New England Golden Gloves tournament. In another 8-round matchup, Whitley, 9-0, takes on dangerous welterweight Crus Jacobs of Fall River, Massachusetts. Whitley is the promising prospect who is trained by former pro fighters Father Derek and Uncle Darren. Jacobs has defeated 3 previous undefeated opponents, including 2-0 Ryan Thomas Clark in his last fight by way of 6-round split decision. Rounding out the triple header of Western Massachusetts pro boxing power also includes Castillo versus Travis Gambardella out of Revere, Massachusetts, in a 6-round welterweight fight. Topping the undercard, by the way, is undefeated lightweight prospect Ray J. the Destroyer Bermudez, 16-0 with 11 knockouts. And he's putting his perfect pro record on the line against battle-tested Tyrone Hands of Stone Lucky in an 8-round match. So it's going to be a really good fight. I'm sure Massachusetts boxing fans are excited to go see all the action. Anyway, let's move along here. And the other card coming up, the Jimmy Farrell Fight Night I mentioned earlier, will be a Pro-Am card showcasing some of New England's best amateurs on a card that will soon to be announced. The Pro card is headlined by a 6-round main event between Swansea's Anthony the Gentle Savage Andriosi and Woburn's Julian Black Dragon Baptiste for the vacant Massachusetts Middleweight Championship. The Andriosi-Baptiste title fight was supposed to happen August 6 at that same venue. However, Andriosi became ill in the locker room during the fight night and canceled the fight. The grandson of the late marvelous Marvin Hagler, Atlanta-based James Savage Hagler Jr., 3-1, 1 knockout, will fight Scott Bombs Lampert, who's 3-6 with 2 knockouts, in the 4-round co-featured event. Hagler Jr. will be fighting close to where his late grandfather fought out of Brockton. Also scheduled to fight in separate 4-rounders are Providence, Rhode Island super lightweight Rob TNT Nolet, as well as a pair of Brockton fighters, another heavyweight, Kirk Wilmont, who's 1-0, 1 knockout, and pro debuting junior welterweight Stephen Davis. So good news out of Massachusetts. Now let's move along to Jake Paul. One of boxing's most exciting prospects, Ashton H2O Silv, and 2 of its most intriguing newcomers, Chris Avila and Mikhail Dr. Mike Varshalsky, highlight Showtime pay-per-view undercard on Saturday, October 29th, headlined by Jake Paul, and he's going up against that night UFC legend Anderson Silva. And that's going to take place in Glendale, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. Anyway, going back to the undercard, teenage sensation Ashton Silva, 7-0, 7 knockouts, will increase his level of competition and put his knockout streak on the line against durable Braulio Rodriguez, who's 24, fighting out of Dominican Republic in an 8-round lightweight contested at 133 pounds. Avila, a disciple of UFC superstar Nate Diaz, will look to make a statement against Dr. Mike Varshevsky, a board-certified family physician and social media influencer with nearly 23 million followers. Wow. Their 4-round cruiserweight bout is contracted at 185 pounds. Alrighty. Just so you know, Ashton Silve, 7-0, as I mentioned, was the first prospect signed by MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, Jake Paul's promotions company, who recently knocked out Giovanni Gutierrez in the first round of his debut at a lightweight contest back in May. But let's move along here. I want to have a quick little read here for you guys. Here it is. It's a good bet, says the story, that Avila has never faced anyone with bedside manner like Dr. Mike Varshavsky. Voted sexiest doctor alive by People magazine, the 6-3 Varshavsky will attempt to prescribe a steady diet of right hands to Avila in his pro boxing debut. A fitness nut with over 10 million subscribers himself on his YouTube channel, Dr. Mike bloodied and battered YouTube personality Ian Idubbbs Washburn. You might recall that name as the fellow who put together the Creator Clash series, and he walked away with the victory in their exhibition bout. If Dr. Mike puts forth a similar effort on October 29th, the prognosis could be grim for Avila. Dr. Mike donated his entire purse in May to help relief efforts in Ukraine and plans to donate his purse on October 29th to the Boys and Girls Club of New York City. Wow. As a practicing physician, he said, I've taken an oath to do no harm. But when those exam gloves come off and the boxing gloves slide on, all bets are off. With one win under my belt, I'm hungry to add more, and this pro fight with Crus could be just what the doctor ordered. Fair enough. So some good news out of the Jake Paul camp, with all monies going towards great efforts. All right, let's move along quickly to Split Team Management, who wanted us to mention that their fighters, two young ladies, Jessica Camara and Leanne Cruz, each had their hands raised in bouts over the weekend. Friday night in Philadelphia, Cruz remained undefeated with a 4-round unanimous decision over Lilian Almirez in a super flyweight bout. Cruz, by the way, is promoted by Hard Hitting Promotions. And a night later in Wilmington, Delaware, a fight that we've reported on, former world title challenger Jessica Camara registered her second consecutive vicious knockout. She needed just 40 seconds to take out Josefina Vega in their junior welterweight bout, and that was held at the Chase Fieldhouse in, as I said, Delaware. Camara landed a left hook that put Vega down and out. With the win, the Montreal native is now 10-3 with 2 knockouts. And both Camara and Cruz are managed by Brian Cohen. Camara is promoted by DeBella Entertainment. Right on, let's move along to junior lightweight Joshua Ortiz, who remained undefeated with a 6-round unanimous decision over Marlo Lozano in a featured bout at the Fillmore, Philadelphia this past weekend. The Friday night card was promoted by Hard Hitting Promotions, previously mentioned, with the Ortiz-Lozano fight being co-promoted by DeBella Entertainment, also co-mentioned. Ortiz, who's fighting out of Reading, Pennsylvania, won by shutout tallies of 60-54 on all cards, as now 11-0. Harding Promotions junior welterweight Jan Rivera stopped Gonzalo Dalera in round 2 of their scheduled 6-rounder. And in round 2, Rivera dropped Dalera with a body shot. Rivera scored another knockdown when he landed a hard right hook. Dalera, however, got to his feet, but was deemed unable to continue at 2:58 of that round. A recent hard-hitting promotion signee, as I mentioned, Leanne Cruz, remained undefeated with a 4-round unanimous decision over Lilian Almirez in their super flyweight bout. And she's fighting, by the way, Cruz is out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, and won by scores of 39-37 on all cards and is now 3-0. Very good. Carlos Ramos won a 6-round unanimous decision over veteran Delil Oguin in a junior lightweight bout. Jeffrey Villanueva stopped Jose Torres in round 1 of their 4-round bantamweight fight. John Leonardo won a 6-round unanimous decision over Pedro Hernandez in a super featherweight bout. And Axel Salgado remained undefeated with a 2nd-round stoppage over Abdiel Borgas in their welterweight fight. Wow. Salgado scored 2 knockdowns, with the latter forcing a corner stoppage at 2 minutes 10 seconds of that round. Salgado, fighting out of Puerto Rico, is now 4-0 with 3 knockouts, whereas Borgas falls to 1-4. Quickly, let's move along to a young man by the name of Joeshon James. He's now 6-0, by the way. He's undefeated middleweight. and he'll look to shock Southern California as he faces local fan favorite Richard Bridgewater, who's 12-0, 4 knockouts, in an 8-round main event at the Thompson Boxing's Locked and Loaded card that we mentioned last week. Locked and Loaded, by the way, will take place at the Doubletree Hotel in Ontario, California on Friday, September 23rd. That's in a couple of days. Tickets are obviously on sale. With respect to his training camp, Joeshon James said, I moved my camp to Las Vegas for this fight, and I've been working with all the top fighters who are training there. I typically train in Sacramento, but for a fight of this caliber, I invested in myself, and I'm looking to make a statement. I don't want to leave anything up to chance, so I'm all in on this fight, and will be ready for whatever version of Richard Bridgewater presents itself. And on that matchup, he said, I'm not going to say I'm unimpressed by his skills, but I felt Nathan Weston beat him and probably could have stopped him in their fight. Burt gets hit a lot. I hit very hard. For him to see that final bell will be a big accomplishment. I just think he has too many flaws, and I've worked too hard going into this fight. So let's see if he's got a closing statement here. Honestly, the rivalry between Northern California and Southern California isn't what people make it out to be. We're just people. I think because the San Francisco Giants and Los Angeles Dodgers baseball teams are so popular and have such well-known rivalry, people think it's a bigger deal than it is. I'm going to make his hometown, I'm going into his hometown, but I'm going to earn a lot of respect by the way I fight. People might boo at first, but by the end of the night, they'll be fans of mine. The event is sponsored, by the way, by Hustler Casino, LA's only luxury casino, Thompson Building Materials, transforming spaces into beautiful places, Omega Products International, the leading stucco manufacturer in the United States, and Balgod paves the way, and Makita rules the outdoors. Wow, what a variety of sponsors. That's interesting. Locked and Loaded will stream live for free on Thompson Boxing Promotions website. That's thompsonboxing.com, as well as their Facebook and YouTube pages. I'm sure more information is available on that fight night on that website. For the final story of the day, let's cruise over to England. We're now headlining in Nottingham as opposed to Lee Wood. You got Maxi Hughes and Kid Galahad. And Maxi Hughes has told Kid Galahad to prepare for life after boxing as he defends his IBO World Lightweight title at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham this Saturday night, to be shown live worldwide on DAZN, excluding Australia and New Zealand. Maxi is riding the crest of a wave, unbeaten since November 2019, enjoying the Cinderella Man status has come with his impressive run of form that has seen him be linked with the big-time battles against California star Ryan Garcia and former world ruler Jorge Linares. The Rosington man has put those thoughts to one side for South Yorkshire Derby, though, with former IBF featherweight ruler Galahad stepping up 2 weights in his ring return and looking for an immediate return to boxing's top table. But his 32-year-old opponent says Saturday night could be the end of the line for the Ingle Jim Slickster. Said Maxi Hughes, I hope he has a plan in place for life after boxing, because after Saturday night, he's got nowhere to go. He was featherweight champion, and he was looking to go super featherweight, so I'm surprised that he's jumping up 2 weights to face me. It's a high-profile fight. He's been IBF champ, and they usually regard their champions highly. So they may rank him highly, so beating Kid Galahad should improve my ranking. It would be nice to get a top 5 ranking with them and move towards a bigger fight. It's the same every time for me. Get this one won, and the bigger fight could be next. I don't take boxing personally. This is my full-time job. This is where my mind's at. He's in the way of me providing for my family. The underdog, I love that. He was the world champion in his last fight, so he's a high-caliber opponent. That's really getting the juices flowing. I have faith in my ability and where I am in my team. I'm not one for bold predictions. I just want to win. Here it comes, and I believe I'm going to get it. By the way, on the stacked undercard, you're going to see Terry Harper leap up and weight to challenge Scotland's Hannah Rankin for her IBO and WBA super welterweight world titles in an intriguing England versus Scotland clash. Always intriguing. Former IBO and WBC super featherweight world champ Harper lost her titles at the hands of USA's Alicia Baumgartner on the undercard of Galahad versus Martinez last year, before landing a WBA intercontinental lightweight title against Yamila Abdelaneda in March. Rankin captured gold by decisioning Maria Lindberg over 10 rounds at the Tottenham Hotspur FC banqueting hall in November 2021 before defending her belts against Mexico's Alejandra Aya at the SSE Hydro in Glasgow back in May. Also on the card, Birmingham heavyweight prospect Solomon Decrez, 4-0, meets Dominic Akinlada, 9-3-1, over 10 rounds. Former Team GB Olympian Siobhan Clark, 2-0, looks to maintain his perfect start to life in the cruiserweight division against Argentina's Marcos Karanlitsky. Welterweight talent Cyrus Pattinson, 4-0, has a fifth fight in the paid ranks, and new Matchroom superweight signing Junaid Boston, 2-0, aims to make it 3 knockouts from 3 fights. Super bantamweight prospect Nico Lavars, 2-0-1, returns to action after his technical draw in Sheffield. And lightweight Rian Dixon, 5-0, fights for the first time under the STN Sports banner. So there's a bit of an update on the upcoming fight in Nottingham. And that, my friends, ends this episode of Boxing News Headlines. I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join me later on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Knuckle Up with Mike Orr and Cedric Ban.